Hey everybody, Sean from Media Assault here, and if you watched the one of the most recent videos I did towards the end of October, I had said that I wasn't going to be doing any horror movie reviews for a little bit, just because I had done so many in October because of Halloween. Well, I ran across something in a half-price books that is going to make me reconsider that, at least for this video. There's a movie called Fade to Black, which came out in 1980, that I had seen when I was pretty young. And I remember it being a really cool movie. And I really wanted to see it again. I had found it in a local used DVD store, but they wanted $33 for it because it's out of print. And I almost bit on that, but I came to my senses and I said, nah, I'm not going to pay $33 for this because I haven't seen it in a while. I'm really not sure that it's as good as I remember it being, and I'd feel really stupid if I paid that much money for it, even though it is out of print. So lo and behold, about a week ago, I was at Half Price Books, and I was in their clearance section, and I found this, which is a double pack of Fade to Black and Hell Night, and it was $2. And it's a little beat up. The disc is a flipper disc, and the side with Hell Night on it I think is a little scratched beyond repair, but Fade to Black works perfectly. So tonight I watched it, and I'm really glad I didn't pay $33 for it because it's nowhere near as good as I remember. For those of you that don't know what Fade to Black is, I'll give you a real quick rundown on the plot. It tells the story of Eric Binford, who is played by Dennis Christopher, who some of you may know from Breaking Away and quite a few other things that came out in the late 70s and early 80s. This came out in 1980. But Dennis Christopher plays Eric Binford, and Binford is a movie fanatic, which may be familiar territory for quite a few of us here on YouTube. But he's a little extreme. Now, this was made back before home video was really mainstream, so he watches a lot of his movies on old projectors, looks like possibly 16 or 8 millimeter, I'm not really sure, projectors in his room and a small little TV set. And he actually works in a film exchange in Los Angeles where prints of movies come in and they get checked out, and he sends out trailers to theaters and whatnot. So he's really involved and obsessed with films. He lives with his aunt, who really resents him because of some events that happened just around the time of Eric's birth that kept her from being a famous dancer, or so she claims. So she really resents the fact that she has to live with and care for Eric. And Eric's kind of a loser anyway. He has a hard time doing anything other than watch movies, socialize with people. Socializing with people is not his strong suit, and he's really obsessed with movie trivia, to the point where he's really kind of an annoying person. But anyway, he is out at work one day and he runs across this woman named Marilyn, played by Linda Kerridge, and she is a dead ringer for Marilyn Monroe. And they actually hit it off, and he asks her out on a date. They end up going out. Well, she forgets that she has a date with him and ends up standing him up accidentally. She doesn't really mean to. And that sort of sets him off on sort of this homicidal rage with a number of other things going on. He's picked on a lot at work. Anyway, he just basically starts killing people, and he assumes the alias Cody Jarrett, which is a character from White Heat. And he just starts killing people in disguises based on some of his favorite movies. It may be hard to see on here. If you can see the poster art for Fade to Black, there are a number of different aliases there that you can see him dressed up as, or costumes rather, the Dracula and the Mummy and Hopalong Cassidy. So when I saw this movie when I was younger, I thought it was kind of a cool premise. I saw it around the time that slasher movies had really reached their prime. I think it was on HBO. And I just remember it being a really cool premise, a lot different from the slasher movies of the time. Not necessarily as violent or gory as any of those movies, but it was just kind of cool. It was kind of a breath of fresh air. Plus, I liked movies a lot, so it was kind of cool to see all the different movie references in it. And for what it was, it appealed to me back then. Now, though, it's not quite got the same, it doesn't quite have the same appeal for me that it did back then. While it's still cool to see the movie references and the different things that are packed into it, the little movie clips that kind of are referenced throughout, I really had a problem with the character of Eric Binford. Not because he's a movie addict and, he has an obsession with film. I didn't find that insulting or anything. It's just that the way he's portrayed, like I said earlier, he comes off as kind of annoying. He's not a sympathetic character. So you start watching the movie thinking that you're going to feel sorry for this guy, and he's going to start killing off people that have picked on him, and maybe there's some sort of vindication in that. But the people in the movie, they really don't treat him horribly. They're not really good to him, but it just doesn't justify him killing people. And I realize that you don't watch Friday the 13th and say, gee, Jason wasn't really justified in killing those people. I'm not saying that. It's just that the character, I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do with the character. Am I supposed to like him? Am I supposed to hate him? Am I supposed to cheer for him? The movie just doesn't tell the story effectively enough, so you're really clear cut on what you're supposed to do with this character. That said, Dennis Christopher's performance is really good. He has a lot of fun with it. He hams it up quite a bit, doing a lot of impressions and movie character things, and he's really good in it. And the movie is probably kind of beneath him. He had just come off of Breaking Away, which was nominated for an Oscar. So yeah, anyway, you don't really know how to feel about the character. He just comes off as really weird and freaky, and the movie tries to justify some sort of reason for the way he is, that media can have this effect on people. They even introduce a character played by Tim Thomerson, who just so happens to be working on the media's effect on kids, and how the media plants images in people's brains and leads them to do terrible things. He's working in sort of a not very clearly defined way with the police department on interviewing people and trying to somehow prove that point. He seems to merely exist just to provide some sort of explanation for why Eric is the way he is, and it doesn't come off all that successfully. The character of Marilyn, who is played by Linda Kerridge, and is a completely dead ringer for Marilyn Monroe. She's very attractive. She does a pretty good job with her role. She's very likable. You can see that there's some chemistry between the Eric and Marilyn characters. You feel kind of bad for Eric, at least at the beginning of the film, that he didn't really get to hook up with her the way that he wanted to, in sort of a nice, healthy relationship kind of way. The movie is only notable for the Dennis Christopher performance and for some early appearances by Mickey Rourke. He plays a character named Richie, one of the people that's picking on Eric in the film. He's in it for maybe a grand total of maybe 10-15 minutes, but he looks really, really young. I think this is maybe like his first or second movie appearance. And Peter Horton, who some of you may know from the TV series 30-something, and I'm sure he's done a lot of other things other than that. He's in it too, as somebody who's trying to pick up Marilyn towards the beginning of the film. So anyway, my quick review has turned into sort of a long-winded rambling review, but all I can really say is I was really disappointed in seeing Fade to Black again, probably 30 years after I had seen it the first time. So I've only seen this movie twice. Once I really liked it, and I was probably 12. and the second time, now that I'm much older than that, I really didn't like it anywhere near as much. I'm glad I got to see it again, and I'm glad I only paid $2 for that privilege, but I can't recommend it at all. And if I was going to rate it, sadly, I would give Fade to Black a 4 out of 10. And the 4 points that it gets are solely because of Dennis Christopher and his performance. Because the script is pretty bad, the directing is kind of unremarkable, and the premise is really cool, but it's just really not executed very well. So there you go. That's my somewhat disappointing review of Fade to Black from 1980. So if you can find it, definitely don't pay $33 for it. But if you can get it for $2, check it out and see what you think of it. And hopefully I don't anger anybody who likes this movie, because like I said, I really thought I was going to enjoy it a lot more than I did, and my memories of it were really good, but the reality of it is I just ain't feeling it anymore. So thanks again for watching, everybody. As always, feel free to rate, comment, and subscribe if you haven't, and thanks again for watching.